And I just like as a passing question, like, are you still dealing with like anxiety on an everyday basis, or are you also able to cope with it now to an
No,
extent?
I don't think I've found a way to cope with it. I think my biggest achievement in the past 1 year is being able to identify. Is I'm just at step one
I
where
think that's
say
that's a very big step, man.
yeah,
Like,
5 out of
honestly, it
10
is.
times so I'll tell you my biggest struggle with anxiety happened
Mm-hmm.
in these past 3 months of your COVID lockdowns, right?
Right.
When everybody in the beginning was like, "Fuck, if you have shortness of breath, you have corona, you're gonna die," and I was out there getting freaked out because I had severe anxiety.
Right.
And I also want to point it out that it's not always necessary that anxiety is cause and effect. Okay, for all you logical people out there, for all you mathletes and geniuses, uh, cause and effect doesn't exist in every space of life, especially with things like depression and anxiety. Sometimes you could spend your entire life not knowing what's causing you anxiety, what's making you depressed, what's
Yeah.
causing you to have breakdowns. It's completely possible. For a few fortunate people out there, they find out the cause
Yeah.
to the effect. But for me, I still haven't found out, except for what we spoke about earlier, the whole MBA thing. But now that it's over, and I enjoyed the experience, there's no logical explanation for it to continue. So in these COVID times, having anxiety was something that made me even more anxious because now I was anxious about having corona. And
Yeah, and honestly, like, just for your Sheeples knowledge, like, I've heard him speak about it throughout, in like in bits and pieces, to be fair, because
yeah,
we spoke for the podcast like almost every like
mhm,
day, in a way. Though this time I think we've not spoken for a week almost, but
yeah, correct.
like, we were speaking on a daily basis, and just like hearing him worry about it, and then like, he did speak to me about like, I don't want to read about what's happening with corona, and I don't want to read like stats and all that, and that kind of was kind of also making it worse, because it
Yeah,
is
I'll,
in
I'll
your
be I'll
head,
be
I
honest.
think.
I was shitting bricks, man. I was super,
Yeah.
super, super scared, and I have no shame in admitting it.
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
so scared that after I don't know, I think probably a good 5, 6 years. I'm saying that I'm not ashamed to admit. I'm actually proud to admit it. But after about a good 5, 7 years, I think I've cried, and I was
Mm.
that afraid that on days when I was mistaking my anxiety breathlessness for corona breathlessness, I used to be so afraid, and I used to weep, and I used to just not want to get out of bed, and just cry for no reasons. And
Hmm.
this, I mean, as a society, you look at a 27-year-old crying and you find it strange. And I
Yeah.
think that's exactly the culture that we need to break out of because fear is does not know an age. Fear doesn't have an age threshold. And for me at least, being the guilt was massive. Like the guilt was so I sort of feed a small group of street dogs and cats.
Hmm.
So even when the country went on lockdown, somebody had to give them food. And there are people who much better than me and bigger than me who do a lot more. I did a very small drop in the ocean, and I used to go out every day, and I used to
I mean, you're
be
still like taking the effort, man. So,
yes,
don't put yourself like low on that bar. It's
I
still a good thing that you're doing.
yeah, just a little bit that I could do, and I used to be super afraid because it was out there and the streets were empty. But just because the country is locked down doesn't mean that your street animals are going to not be hungry. So I used to
Hmm.
go down and I used to feed them, and then I started getting these kind of thoughts that shit, what if I have the virus? And it led to a bigger guilt trip that okay, because I went out of the house I got the virus, which went to a bigger guilt trip that shit, now I'm going to give it to my mom, who's much older and who's at a higher risk. So these chains and these different ladders of guilt just trapped me so hard that there were days where I would literally sleep 12 to 13 hours a day and still not want to get out of
Yeah.
bed because getting out of bed meant the chain of thought starting. and
Yeah.
it's been a rough 3 months. And then, like, this guy said, I have I have not watched the news for weeks at stretch, because I found that to be even more anxiety, something laden with even more anxiety.
Anxiety
But he's
inducing.
he's dealt with these 3 months much better than I have. So I mean,
Um,
kudos to you for that, man.
Hey, the main thing, I think one of those things was that helped me through it was being informed, to be fair. I didn't, and it was, as much as it's a very, very, very scary time to be in,
Hmm.
it's also one of those things where we are taking the right precautions, right? We are staying at home, we are not getting out. And I think that just made me happy that at least, you know what, until and unless we take the right steps and don't like go out and take those risks in general, we can be safe. But the only thing, and the other factor of it all was like I was just looking at the news so that I could know what's happening and whether the situation is improving or not. Yes, it's been bad, but I felt like maybe if I can focus on things that I want to do right now and make use of this time, um, and this was for me. This doesn't have to be for everyone else. Like some people can relax during this time. People can take time to themselves and get a break from everything that's happening in the world.
Hmm.
That's all fair. For me, the best way to cope was putting myself into something that would take my mind away from everything else and maybe help me focus on what I want to do. And one thing was this podcast, which was a massive, massive, massive help. And the other thing that has been a constant for me through these 3 months now is music. I do like playing the guitar, learning how to produce. Has really been like one of those things where I can just let be. And I think this is something that's maybe true for Z as well, because he's also
Hmm.
been playing the guitar a lot.
Hmm.
And it's just one of those things that
Yeah, I can now
calms me
play
down.
after 3 months of intense practice. I can now play Happy Birthday to You. So yay, I'm feeling
Hey,
it.
that's still an achievement, man. Like that,
That
that's
is an
awesome.
achievement. I'm gonna be quite the pop star on birthdays.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, like coping with things isn't easy. And for me, for you right now, you've recently just gotten to know about like what anxiety is and what it feels like.
Hmm.
And maybe you've not yet figured out how you would cope with it, right? Like I think you're struggling with that from what I know. um
Yeah.
if I'm like not saying anything wrong here, but
Yeah, I still am. I mean, I'm not even close to overcoming it, but
mhm,
it's just that some days I can wake up and go like, okay, this is not a
yeah,
physical body issue. This is actually a mind mental issue that's
yeah,
maybe manifesting in a physical form. I think they call it psychosomatic, right? Like shit in
right,
your
right,
mind that
yeah.
makes your physical body feel
Yeah.
like there's something wrong there.
But for me, and this is again something that I just want to point out is since I didn't know what I was going through, it took me about 10 years to get even where I am. um,
Whoa.
I'm just happy that you know it and you can
Yeah.
take the right steps to at least cope with it to an extent, to understand how to go like
Mm-hmm.
improve your position from where you are.
Mm-hmm.
But over the 10 years that I've been like trying to change myself, I've learned a few things that help me, that I don't know if it helps anybody else out there. You can try it out. It's not the easiest way to it's not the easiest thing to you do it once and you'll be fine. It's not that like just quick or
I
effect
mean, like
like
it's not a band-aid.
yeah,
Ki, or,
it's not a band-aid. It's not something that will just magically fix you up, but it
yeah.
is something that will help you get a start.
Maybe
Right.
then it is a band-aid, yeah. Like,
I mean, if you can start at some point,
yeah.
uh, I think it's one of those things. Like maybe if I can be of help, like, and this might help you as well. See, so you know what? Like, let me just say
Sure.
one thing.
Okay.
Is is first of all, the one thing that I learned is if we do things, if we are doing things for the first time, whatever it might be, whether it be thinking about things or whatever it might be. Like if we are going to do a presentation, and my problem was more so related to public stuff, or being out there, which was my problem specifically.
Hmm.
Uh, I told myself, and I started learning to tell myself, is that one, I can do things badly for the first time, because there's always room for growth. You don't need to be perfect the first time you do something. There are times that you will have to learn from your mistakes. If you don't have flaws, you aren't human. Like, to err is to be human, is the thing, right? And if we don't make like any mistakes, how will we grow? And if we are perfect from the start, then what's the fun in life, right? So one thing I kept telling myself is, if I'm doing something, let me do it badly first and then improve, because I've already done it badly at that point. I'm already bad at it. Why not, like, improve from there? We'll get better. We'll get to a point where we'll be fine. We can do it confidently. That was one of the first things that I learned. And the other thing was that once I started doing it, I started being able to let myself go, give myself that leeway that, हाँ चलेगा, अब खराब तो कर सकता हूँ, then why, if I can do it badly, then why not? Like, I'll be fine. I can improve now. And allowing yourself to do it is the second step, right? Do it badly, but allow yourself to do it as well, right? Because the moment you allow it for yourself is the moment you kind of feel that liberation key. Like, I think I'm starting to understand who I am and where I need to go and where I want to be, right? uh, Ahead in life. And the
Uh-huh.
third thing that I learned is just like the fact that the more I do it, the more the more I'll believe in myself. Like, love what you do, believe in yourself, and be confident in yourself, because that is a very key factor to have in your life, to just like be able to be comfortable with where you are and do what you're doing. Because if you're not gonna believe in yourself, it's usually gonna cause you to doubt yourself all the time. And self doubt is important to grow, but like, don't let it consume you. I have been consumed by self doubt a lot, but the more I learned that, and let myself know that it is not like, not the place where I'm going to be forever, because I know that I can be a better person and be able to improve, is what helped me get out of all of this, right? And if you can't give yourself that self belief right now, just know that, whether it be your loved ones, your family, whoever it is, they believe in you. We are like, the sheeples believe in you, and you're going. If you need to hear this, just know that there are people who believe in
We
you.
believe in you, sheeple.
Yeah, and just don't let it consume you. Like, know that there are people behind you. There's always going to be someone there to support you. Just be able to, like, give yourself that leeway, learn, and be able to grow. That's how, the more you tell yourself that, the more you'll start getting comfortable with the position where you are, and how you can grow from there on. Because then you'll know that you are a person who can make mistakes, but you are also a person who will learn from those mistakes. And that's, I think, one thing that helped me with anxiety a lot, over the time, over 10 years. It took me 10 years, but I kind of was able to get out of it. And I don't know, like, I don't know if it'll help you, Z, because your situation is a little more, um like, I guess, a little different from what I was
Yeah,
in.
I think that's what I mean. What you said is, I'm sure, is going to be absolutely helpful to half of the people listening to it, or probably one fourth, or I don't know. Even if it makes a difference to one person, I think
Yeah,
it's the goal achieved. But that's one of the tricky parts about this topic, about anxiety, or traumatic stress disorders, or
yeah,
panic attacks, is that it is so subjective from
yeah,
person to person that it's I mean, of course, I'm sure out there medically they put patients like us into buckets, and they know, each archetype. They try to generalize as much as they can, but I think the reality is that each case is its own universe.
Yeah.
and it's so subjective. Like for me, 5 years ago, gratitude and somebody believing in me and inspirational books and quotes really helped. They felt like they were sort of fitting the bill. But where I am right now, if someone tells me stuff like, hey, you know what, be grateful for things you have, or write down three things, or make a gratitude journal, or you know what, there are people out there who have it worse, that doesn't help anymore.
Yeah.
At least the space I am in right now, the kind of advice I want to hear from people, um, and is maybe what I would give to everybody out there, is on days when you can afford to stay with that feeling.
Hmm.
What we try to do is we try to rush away, we try to run away as fast as we can because it's so alien and it's so bizarre that it weirds us out, and we don't want to be there because let's face it, at least for me, anxiety feels like skydiving and
Yeah.
falling for eternity, and
Yeah.
that's not a very comfortable feeling because fight or flight
Definitely.
is,
Like I think I agree with you there. Right. It's one of those feelings where you just
you know, those
can't.
dreams where you
Yeah.
have where you're falling and you
Yeah.
suddenly wake up.
You can't you're not waking up at this point right now, right? You're
Yeah,
just like
you're just
it's a free
falling.
fall. It's a free fall, and you
It's a
don't know
free
where
fall.
your parachute is at the time, at the
Exactly.
moment.
So for and that's
Yeah.
not a very comfortable feeling. So I mean, if I had to really tell somebody out there things that helped me out, I would tell you that if you can afford to stay with it,
But the
stay
main thing
in.
is like you need to try to find that parachute, right? Give yourself
No,
that
no,
opportunity.
exactly. And that's where I'm coming from the opposite end. I'm
Mhm.
saying that if you can, let's say that you can afford to not go to work, or you
Right.
can afford to not work from home, or you can afford to not do your chores for the day, it's okay, stay in bed,
Yeah.
stay with that feeling, because sometimes if you aren't in a pool of water, no matter how hard you try to swim, you aren't getting anywhere.
Hmm.
And that's exactly what it was like for me. What really helped was when I stopped fighting it. I didn't give into it. I didn't take it negatively, but I
Hmm.
stopped trying to win it. And that might sound very counterproductive right now. It might sound very averse. It might sound illogical, but trust me, it helped me.
A very
Uh,
different situation in this matter, right? Like,
again, remember, I'm not saying be defeated. I'm
yeah,
not saying that give into negative thoughts. I'm not saying go into self-destructive mode. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying don't try to fight it.
yeah,
Try to, and this is again a little more weird than what I said earlier. Try to look at what you're feeling from a very third person point of view. Try to become an observer of sorts. Try to detach from your physical body, and just shut your eyes and visualize what you're going through. Like become that security guard who's sitting with 50 screens of CCTVs and who's just observing,
yeah,
who's not taking part in any of those screens.
yeah.
And this is where it becomes a little spiritual, okay? This is where it goes into a little bit of meditation, yoga, and that fits, right? The guys from India, so we're into the tantra. No, that was a lame joke. What I'm trying to say is sometimes, okay, I'm going to just stick with that. If you aren't in a pool of water, no matter how hard you try to swim, you aren't getting anywhere. So that's number one. Number two, don't let don't let yourself be discouraged by saying things like people have it worse off, you have it much better in life, you have money, you have food on the table, what right do you have to be depressed? Don't do that to yourself. That that arc of thinking isn't going to help. If that arc of thinking comes to you, try to do a little bit of self love and say that not everybody is the same, and this is happening to me. I don't fit into an archetype, and just because people have it worse doesn't mean I have to automatically be cheered up.
Yeah.
That's number two. These are two things that I can tell you I did differently, and they helped a little bit. And this is where I am. And it's
I think it's as I said, like these are very different situations we've both been in, and each and every one will have their own way to cope with
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
I think we maybe if we can learn from each other
We need
and
to
try to
crowdsource
understand, yeah,
advice, right?
yeah,
And if
and
you're out there, you've been through. even a day more than us or anybody else. You owe it to everyone
Yeah.
to put it out there of things that help you.
Please share. And one of the biggest things we can say is
You know
if
what?
you
I
have,
just had this brainwave.
yeah,
Let's
yeah,
create a crowdsourced document. Let's put it out there. After the end of this
yeah,
episode, we try to sort of have a public Excel sheet of sorts,
yeah,
and we'll try to crowdsource all the kind of advice that we can get. And anybody who's listening out there, if you feel that you aren't able to find what helps you, probably that Excel sheet at a glance could give you like
yeah.
a menu card of
We,
advice, and you could choose what
we'll
you
put
want.
that Excel sheet on our on our article that we have written for anxiety.
Yeah,
If you want to
perfect.
ever access that document, you can always check the article out, and at the bottom of the article you'll find that document. We are also going to be putting a whole list of therapists that can help you out if you ever require it. There's another sheet that was created and curated by Tatas that has therapists from all around India that can help you with your whatever issue you're going through, and it has details about each and every therapist. So you can, whoever you find like you're comfortable talking to, you can take the name. There's the numbers given. You can just contact them, and just speak to them. Have an appointment. Do whatever you require. But I think we want to do this because it's, as we said, it's one of those things that's required. And one thing we really want to say is, if you think your friend or your family or member or whoever is like maybe suffering from something like this, please do like try to help them if you've gone through something like this, because the smallest advice, or the smallest like helping hand, or a hand on someone's shoulder can make the biggest difference in their life, and we don't realize it. So if you can, uh, please give that person like just that small push in the back, that we are there, we are always with you, and don't worry. Yeah, like if you ever require it, we are available. It might just help them in some way or the other. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think
we,
the
we want
crowdsourced
to help.
document idea is something we really want to do. I really really feel like we should. So
Yeah,
yeah, we'll put our own kind of methods we've coped with in that, and
hmm
please do put your own. Like, we would really encourage it. We would love it if you all are, actually putting in your own ideas and thoughts and ways that you've coped through, and hopefully, yeah, I think we can make something really cool out of it. Something that could help people out of it at least. So yeah, I guess I think that's all we could speak about on anxiety.
yeah.
It's been
I
a
hope we
very,
helped. I'm saying I hope we helped, and we wanted to just bear ourselves and make it very
yeah,
personal, so we could be very honest, and sort of start, or maybe even restart a culture of honesty where and in that case, I'm really happy of some I know I've seen a few 18, 19, 20-year olds who've had the courage to put out photos on Instagram where they're
yeah,
crying and writing about their own battle with mental health.
yeah,
And I'm absolutely certain that the younger generation has it much more figured out, and they're better just because they are acknowledging. And I think
yeah,
that's a great first step. I mean, if I had taken the step of acknowledging at 15 instead of 25, whoa, this would have been a very different ride. But I mean, hats off. If you're somebody who does that,
yeah.
I really respect that. Please let us know what the good work that you do, and we'll plug you in because
Yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
really
We would
you
love
do
to plug
deserve to
you.
be
Yeah,
out there.
for sure.
Yeah.
And we would love feedback on what you thought about this whole episode on mental health, because if we are missing out
Mhm.
on something, please do let us know. We'd love to, do
Yeah.
more stuff around mental health in
I know
general.
y'all are unhappy that there was just one bad joke over here, and I'm disappointed too. There should have been more, but yeah, we're trying to be a little
um,
somber.
yeah, I think this episode is supposed to be more somber anyway. We'll get back to the bad jokes next
We
time.
will, we will
For
do
sure.
something fun. But anyways, this was comforting for me to talk to. It
Yeah.
felt good admitting it out there, putting it out there that I am human, I am mortal, and I have more flaws than
Yeah.
perfections. So this is
Um,
Mortal
but
Z
and this is mortal anxious being.
signing off. Remember, it's your flaws that make
Yeah.
you human, right? Not
Yeah.
your perfections.
And yeah, and this is us signing off for sure. Goodbye, sheepos.
Peoples, we will see you soon. Bye bye.
Sheepos. Bye.